Welcome to my Social Ecological Framework Model by Nicole Jones. So initially when I was picking my subjects, I had picked the use of biodiversity as an assessment tool to identify areas of unhealthy rivers and using that as a tool to identify areas that need restoration. However, as I've progressed through the assignments, I'm realizing that it's more that we're supposed to pick an issue rather than just one component of how biodiversity is used. What I ended up picking was still using kind of that same aspect of assessing river health and salmon and fish in it, but also looking at the human and fire impact on salmon and steelhead, and seeing what are the factors that are affecting it and which are affecting the fish and the health of the rivers. So the factors that I came up with are climate change. There's longer fire season, thirstier climate. Please bear with me. This is my brainstorming initially. And so climate change, there's political pressure that's coming to manage land to reduce the cost of fire damage. There's forest fires, the runoff into the river. There's change in the substrates and the river bottoms, changing in the water pH, decreased tree cover. There's elimination of plant and animal diversity. Water diversion by PG&E is also a factor which reduces water levels, increases the creek temperatures, which isn't healthy for the fish. Limited continuous data monitoring, collection and monitoring. It needs to be ongoing, and the situations, the temperatures, the conditions, the weather, everything is constantly fluctuating. So it's kind of a complex issue. Community, recreational fishing as well as commercial fishing rely on salmon. A community is willing to help. Water is contaminated in the community, and fish are contaminated with the chemicals are all factors. There's effects. There's more fires, which are expected from climate change. Reduced tree cover, communities pulling together to help. There's possibly, due to the changes in the bottom, more mud and areas for the fish to hide. Actually, following the fire, the snorkel count actually had a record year. So actually the fire ended up being like something that helped the fish flourish. Unknown effects of chemicals in the community and drinking water. And then my research also found that some of the effects was that the population of spring river salmon was decimated in 2021 due to mismanagement of water by PG&E, resulting in oxygen and heat-related diseases, and we lost 12,000 adult spring run salmon pre-spawn. So these are some of the outcomes. Increased nutrient cycling with increased deaths, but also reduced number of fish, which is going to increase the need for hatcheries. Increased need for tree covers, also part of the fire to help decrease the water. There's an increased need for reforesting in a manner that reduces fires and increases resistance. That goes back to the PG&E. Decreased water diversion needed to help keep the temperatures cooler, and increased consistent monitoring is needed to head off infections and the different water temperatures. This is solutions, but I don't think we were supposed to address that yet, so I won't go into that yet. But reduce water diversion as well as replanting plants that are more resistant to climate change and fires is kind of two of the solutions I think that I've kind of seen in the research, but I think our next assignment's looking at that a little closer. Looking at this, I didn't feel like it really showed the actual more interactions of each one. So I created this, which kind of shows, it's kind of the same information, but it just kind of shows a little more interaction between the factors. But I felt like it was a little messy and disorganized, so I revamped it again. And this one, which is just a little prettier, it kind of has the same information, but it has a little bit more in that, talking about why the salmon are a little more important, because they support forest health, they support cultures, they support fishing industry, and they shape rivers and lands. They're very important for forest health, river health. Some of the factors that are being affected, that is affecting them, is climate change, PG&Es, diverting water, and fires. It turns out that the fires are actually helping them. However, the rise in water temperature from the fire isn't helping them, but the water temperatures from PG&E seems to be actually the biggest thing that is affecting the salmon. And so that's kind of the two things that I think need to be addressed the most, is the water temperatures and the deforestation from the fires. So next page is my references. And the next one is some videos that just kind of show the area, and also the video of the forest fire just kind of shows the actual extent of the damage. It's something you can't really get your mind around until you actually see it. So thank you very much.